Okay, good morning. What you'll need today, so what you'll need is a basketball or a playground ball. If you get some of those playground balls, they're really cheap from Dollar General, and then you get them like $2. I think you can get some basketballs pretty cheap there. You just need something that can bounce. We're going to be working on basketball dribbling. All right, and dribbling is when we're moving the ball without stopping by using our hands. So we're bouncing it and moving. So anytime we stop, that's stopping our dribble. All right, and in basketball, when you're playing the game of basketball, you dribble and stop. At that point, you either have to shoot or pass. You cannot dribble again, or it would be called double dribble. So right now, we're just going to be working on some simple dribbling skills. So pause it, go get your ball, go find a spot where you can watch this, where you'll be able to dribble. Don't dribble near some china cabinets or anything like that, anything that's breakable. If you can, go outside. If not, just, again, find somewhere that's safe where you're not going to break anything. All right, so dribbling, the first thing we're going to do, all right, is when we dribble, we want to dribble. I usually ask this question: do we want to dribble with our finger pads or our palm? All right, and so you can answer that question yourself. Do you want to dribble with your finger pads or the palm of your hand? And so answer that question, and then I'm going to show you and ask you again. All right, so this is palm. This is with the palm of my hand. All right, and then this is finger pads. You tell me which one looks like you have better control. And if you said finger pads, you're correct. So we want to dribble with our finger pads. So we want to have strong hands, but yet movable. All right, so we don't want our hands to be super loose when we dribble, or we won't have control. We want to have strong hands. So go ahead and make strong hands, but then movable. So our wrist can move. So strong fingers, but movable wrist. All right. And so when we dribble, first thing we'll do is we create a pocket space. So if you can see this, we put one foot out. So again, we always start with the hand we write with. It's just easier when we're learning new things. And so I'm going to use my right hand because that's what I write with. All right. And so I'm going to put my left foot out and create a pocket space. All right. Because if I didn't, you see what happens? I hit my right foot and the ball goes all over the place. Is that a good thing in basketball? No, it's not. All right, so go ahead, create that pocket space. We're going to bend our knees and we're going to use our finger pads with a strong but movable wrist. All right, so just push it down, moving with our elbow, pushing with our elbow. Everybody see that motion? All right. And just dribble. So just stand still. We're just going to stand still and dribble with that hand. Stand still, dribble that hand. Make sure we're using our finger pads, not our palm. We use our palm. That's what we look like. So if you look like that, check your mechanics. Make sure you use your finger pads. Good. All right, now we're going to switch. So we're going to switch to the other hand. So what do? We put the opposite foot out. So this one's my left hand. I do not write with my left hand, so my right foot comes out. Creating that space. This should be a little bit more difficult. Unless you're a basketball player, it should be a little more difficult. Right. But in basketball, it's very important that you can use both hands. All right, stop. We're going to go back through those one more time. So remember, strong hands, finger pads. All right, we want to bend our knees and stay low. All right, stay low. Keep the ball low. Switch. And stop. Yeah, before we move on, we're going to do a little challenge with that. But I'm going to ask you this. This is a question I would usually ask. Why do we want to stay low when we dribble the basketball? So think about that. Answer it to yourself. You can answer it out loud. I can't hear you, but you can answer it out loud. And the answer to that question is, so let's see if you're right, is we want to stay low because in basketball we have the other team coming after us. And when they're on defense, they're trying to take the ball from us. So if we're high and we dribble high, see how much longer the ball stays in the air. That gives them more of an opportunity to take the ball from you and go score. We don't want them to do that. All right, so we want to stay low so we can move quick from our defenders. All right, the other thing is, do we want to keep our head down watching the ball dribble, or do we want to keep our head up? All right, if you said up, you're correct. Why do we want to do that? So answer that to yourself. And hopefully you've answered it by now. You want to keep your head up because, again, we have defenders. And so if we don't know where they are, so if our head's just constantly on the ball, they could come from any angle and take the ball. And we don't want them to do that. So we want to keep our head up. We can use what we call peripheral vision. So even though I'm looking at you in the camera, I can still see the ball out of the corner of my eye. I still have a pretty good idea of where it is. All right. So the next drill we're going to use, you can use your dominant hand. You're going to dribble. All right. And as you're dribbling, I'm not going to be dribbling right now. You're dribbling. All right. And when I put this up, I should get a red one. Hold on one second. When I put this up, because we know red means stop, and we do this drill whenever you're in school. We do this, and this is one of my favorites. I'll walk around, so you have to keep your eyes on me. But when I do that, that means stop dribbling. So if you're dribbling, you're good right now. If I throw this up, you got to stop. All right? And the goal is to do it as quickly as possible because this is going to be a reference to a defender coming after you. So go ahead and start dribbling. Okay, you should have stopped. You should have seen the red. Go ahead and dribble again. You're still using your right hand, your dominant hand. If that's your left, then use your left. All right, you should have stopped. Go back to dribbling. All right, should have stopped. Go back to dribbling. Should have stopped. All right, switch to your other hand. This is going to be much more difficult because you're not as coordinated typically with this hand. So go ahead and start dribbling. Should be quite the challenge. Should have stopped. All right, keep going. Should have stopped. All right, keep going. And stop. Good job. Good. Next thing we're going to do. We don't always just dribble on one side. Sometimes as the defender's coming, we have to switch to the other hand. So what we're going to do, they call this a crossover, but we're going to do it like this. We're going to go 1, 2, switch, 1, 2, switch, 1, 2, switch. So when we dribble this when we're switching, we're basically pushing it, and we want the ball to hit the middle. So we want the ball to hit directly in the middle of your position. So that it goes to the other hand. Go 1, 2, switch. 1, 2, switch. Do it with me. 1, 2, switch. 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 If that's challenging, you can do it slower. So you can go 1, 2, switch, 1, 2, switch, 1, 2, switch, 1, 2, switch, 1, 2, switch. If it's too easy, try to do as fast as you can. Go 1, 2, switch, 1, 2, switch, switch. And freeze. Okay, so that's your crossover. All right, now we want to do what we would typically do in classes. I would say, okay, now we're going to use our dominant hand, and now we're going to actually start to move around. So I want you to dribble and walk. So practice dribbling and walking. All right, until I say freeze. So dribble around, non-dominant hand walk. Remember, we want to be low. I'm going to say low. And freeze. All right. Now we'll go to our left hand, so we're going to, or our non-dominant hand, which is my left. All right. Maybe you're right. So start moving around. And freeze. And if you can, what I really like to do is after that, I like to do a challenge where you dribble around, and then again, you have to kind of keep your eyes on me as you're moving. So you're kind of moving, you got to move quick. Look, see, make sure coach isn't putting the red dot up. All right, but I want you to try to move around the space as much as possible. And then if he throws it up, I want you to freeze. Okay? So dribble around, you use your dominant hand again. Dribble around. And you should be stopped. All right, so do it again. Should be stopped. All right, go again. Still using that same hand. Should stop. All right, switch hands. A little more difficult. Go. Should stop. Keep going. Should stop. All right. Then what I like to do is have movement. Sometimes we'll do relay races where you go forward and back. So we're working, because in basketball, when you're moving up the court, you want to move quickly. So right now, if you can find a space, I don't know if you can go outside on your driveway and just have a point A to point B. So like we're going to go from, we're going to leave. We just pick this little dot right here. All right, and then we're just going to go to the wall. So I'm going to practice with that hand. I'm going to try to move. I'm going to challenge myself, and I'm going to try to move as quickly as possible to get to that side and back. So I'm going to go down. Touch it, and come back. All right, and then I would switch hands. Down. Come back. All right, and then I may just start dribbling around. I want you to go 1, 2, switch, 1, 2, switch. Depending on your skill level, you can move up to things. So you can put little dots and say, all right, when I'm going to get to this dot, I'm going to dribble, switch. And I'm going to dribble here, switch. All right? And again, that just depends on what skill level. Some of you may just want to sit there and go 1, 2, switch, 1, 2, switch. Some of you may want more movement. So 1, 2, switch. If you're on a basketball team and you do this a lot, that may be what you want to do. So you can put different cones out. See that dot? They come up on it, switch, get around it. Switch, get around it. Ooh, that wasn't very good. But you can do that and challenge yourself, all right? Those are some dribbling skills you can do. Some other things you can do, what we like to do, is we'll play music, because music makes things fun. So you can play music. Have someone, your brother, your sister, your mom, dad, whoever, someone at your house, they can stop the music. You can dribble. Music stops, you stop. Music plays, you keep going. It's like freeze dance or freeze tag or something like that. So music stops, you freeze. So there's some other things you can do to work on dribbling and make it fun. The more you practice, the better you get. And the more you do this, the better in shape you get. So if you start moving around and you get really good at it, obviously you can dribble and shoot as well, especially if you're already playing basketball. But shooting will be our next lesson. But these are just some good dribbling skills you can practice. So hope you enjoy it. Write down in the comments below, and y'all have a great day.